now. Okay, which guitar makers have the biggest cult following, i.e. Fanboys? Stay tuned. It's me, Baxter.
And me, Jonathan.
We're here discussing we're going to take the top 5 makers.
Okay. The big five.
The big 5, which we all know who they are. There's Fender, there's Gibson, there's PRS, there's Martin, there's Taylor. Who's got the biggest unadulterated Jonestown cult following?
Drinking the Kool-Aid.
Fanboy, yes, all the way. I can explain to my child, my 11-year-old, what Jonestown, like drinking the Kool-Aid was. He said, what does that mean, drinking the Kool-Aid? Well, it comes from this. This is how people use it in modern day, but it comes from old Jonestown. That's a fun one. So let's dig in these companies for a bit.
I mean, all 5 of these have cult-like. I mean, like they have fanboys, all of them.
I put it akin to like Xbox and PlayStation. Yeah, and then Nintendo's sort of like their own little thing too. But there's like definite diehard fanboys to each system. I've
heard tell of these things. I'm not really a gamer, so.
We're like Xbox,
but I believe it.
Like won the last generation, and then this generation is kind of squirrely, and then PRS is starting to take over now, and then who knows? But
although one of my students the other day had one of those new PlayStation like handheld things, and I felt like I was holding the future. I was like, oh my god, it felt like something out of the old Halo games. I was like, this is insane.
Well, this is cool. Like the graphics are so good on this thin little thing. You're like, oh my god. So let's dig into Fender for a minute.
Yes.
So Fender's been around since, a long time, 50s, 40s, whatever you want to call it.
1946.
And it's been there since 46. I consider like 1950 the real, when they started like really conquering the universe a bit. But they've had fanboys, fangals. The most diverse group of fans would probably live under the Fender tent pole.
Okay.
There's a lot. They get young, they get old, they get new. They have people from the 60s, they have people from 2010 being born. It's like Fender's an easy game to get into.
I mean, Fender's an easy game to get into. A lot of people love Fender. I would count myself among them. Mm-hmm. But I do feel like most of the Fender, like, they're okay playing something else. Like, hey, I play mostly Fenders, but, I love this Les Paul. Oh, I love this thing over here. I feel like, plus you're probably not playing a Fender acoustic. So you know what I mean? You're not fanboy in the way that you're all Fender, right? Like it's Fender and Gibson acoustics or Martin acoustics.
The guy at Fender Acoustics, like watching this video at home, he's not. But he's man, darn it. God darn it, why can't
listen, he knows. We're not telling him anything he doesn't know.
They've been trying for years.
And God bless him,
hey, one day they're going to get it.
And then now there's the Acoustasonic. So maybe you're doing it that way. I don't know.
Let's jump into their rival. Let's jump into Gibson for a minute.
They got some crazy cult-like fanboys for sure.
They do.
And again,
they do have some. And there's like people that will buy anything that has been touched, thought of, or dreamt of by Slash, or anything that is a Les Paul that is in the historic line. They don't really mess with the formula that much.
But do you think though, like, okay, so let's say there's someone who is an insane like Slash like cult fanboy, right? I feel like it doesn't always spread to the whole Gibson line. Like they might not care anything about like the historically correct, like an R9. You know what I mean? Like they only want the Slash models. Did Slash play one of these? Did Slash play this?
Maybe.
I feel like the people will be more specialized within Gibson as opposed to the whole of the Gibson brand sometimes.
I think that the Les Paul is so alluring. That their fanboy to the Les Paul it's such a strong, vehement, like, because it has that more artisan craftsman nature than the Strat or the Tele. It's not just a plank or just a carved contour. It's got the art, it's got the beautiful carved top. And
I said that the other day in our video about the Strat versus Les Paul kind of thing. Yeah, I feel like there's a little more to it.
I couldn't remember where we were talking about that. I was like, God, is that my dream or that happened here?
It was right
here.
In front of you fine folks.
Okay, so they're on the consideration block. Let's jump into another electric line. Paul Reed Smith.
I think, hands down, in my estimation, not that means anything, I think they got the biggest cult-like following. Because the people who love PRS, man, it's rare that you talk to someone who like casually likes PRS. Either they're not into PRS, or they're like PRS. They're the best. They're built the best. They sound the best. They look the best. They're everything.
Intonated. I like when I hear that. They're intonated.
They're the best in the studio. All the studio, and I'm not even saying any of these things aren't true. So don't get on me in the comments. But I'm just saying, like, that's what I see. And I'm not even saying it's not warranted, right? Maybe it's warranted. That's a different video to argue that out. But I just think PRS has built this crazy, cult.
Is PRS Pepsi? And
Echo
Gibson
sphere.
is Coca-Cola?
Maybe. Because some people love to call out the Gibson fanboys, you know what I mean? But, I feel like that's more tied to who played those guitars.
Well, it's funny because jumping back to Gibson, we'll come back to PRS, because Gibson has had so many ups and downs with their business over the past few years, but the fanboys stay true. But the haters stay even stronger. That the haters of Gibson love to hate Gibson.
They love to hate it.
They love it.
That's maybe as much a cult as anything else we've listed on this thing.
I think that might be the winning cult.
But you can find people who love Gibson and can be like, oh yeah, these years, this sucked. I don't think you can find that for anything on PRS. I think they're like, yeah, no, they're all perfect.
I'm trying to figure out points to argue with you on this one, because there's...
If they existed, you maybe could find them. But since
No,
I'm 100% right.
I mean, there's a lot, like the folks that I know that are like diehard PRS people are truly diehard PRS people, and they really don't like anything else.
And that's fine. It just is what it is, right?
I'm analyzing this as we like make this happen live on the internet.
It's like they've captured this,
And it could be, I'm thinking about the age group of the people too, and it's people that are sort of past the historical have-to-have stuff because of the Woodstock period too, in some ways. I get some guys in their 50s and 40s, but that's like, that's past that point. That's younger than that generation, so.
But I mean, and you do, I mentioned the Tim Pierce videos a lot, and you see guys like that who are obviously pros and studio guys who are count them in that cult. So,
I'm going to give you some big consideration in this. Let's jump into Taylor guitars.
They do. There are people who are like totally 100% Taylor.
If you go on the Taylor forums, you'll find people that are hardcore Taylor.
Hardcore Taylor
it's really
is the
funny.
best.
And it's sweet. It's different though.
It is different. And I mean, and I think, and I love this actually. I think part of it is people love the business practices of like Taylor and like the conservation part, and they just buy into the whole Bob Taylor, and now by extension Andy Powers, but they just see.
Because I talked to like our friends at Taylor Guitars. They had some of their reps here the other day, and they're working on a program right now to cryogenically freeze Bob and Kurt.
Yeah.
Just their brains. The bodies are going to let atrophy go, but the heads will be frozen, and they're going to keep those.
I'd say it's for the best
in the Taylor Museum, and can contribute to their ecosphere. And I wish that would happen.
That'd be amazing.
If you had like,
I thought you were going to say something serious. I was like,
no, I just want to have a little fun with it. I was watching this prank show on Netflix with my kids the other day, like the magic prank show, and they did a cryo freeze on somebody's face, which was pretty cute. And then the robot prank was really good. I haven't
seen this one.
I only watched the first episode. It was clever. It's a fun show with the kids. Your kids would like it.
My favorite prank lately is the guy he really is a power lifter, but he doesn't look that huge, but he puts on the little janitor outfit and he asks the guys.
Oh yeah, I watch him all the time. He's great.
That's hilarious. And he's just like, let me try it. And he's like,
he moves it over there.
And they're like, oh my God, you're gonna kill yourself. Boom. That's amazing.
But Taylor does, like they police it's a different type of thing. It's like they police their content very carefully.
They do.
And like all their social stuff. So it's different. So let's jump into Martin.
I would never.
That quote is like, Martin players will never touch a Taylor, the true Martin fanboy.
Seriously, one year, like, us doing the Taylor booth at Merle Fest, which is used to be especially very predominantly bluegrass. So lots of bluegrass players. It is definitely changing, and it has changed. But, these guys walk by, they want nothing to do with it if it doesn't say Martin on the headstock. And this one guy in overalls and the little hat.
Love him.
I said, sir, play anything you like. And he, I promise you, he looked at me, spit on the ground, and said, I would never.
Which we almost did like a little like sort of like semi like
respect, sir.
Respect. It was like, brother.
It was kind of awesome. I mean, and we've talked to bluegrass guys who are like, man, I love those Grand Pacifics, but I just can't take it out on stage.
Man, and then you can get into all the boutiques too, and unless you played one, when I played a Wayne Henderson the first time there, I put my hand out. I was like, pick your Taylors you want. Let's trade. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do you want? We'll pick. Some of those guitars are so good.
Well, I'd love to try the Thompsons, or like the Froggy Bottom stuff's amazing. And I mean, yeah, there's a ton of those.
God, they're expensive. Golly gee.
But I mean, and Martin, I think, goes back. It's kind of like Gibson. There's this historical aspect to it, right?
So I think we've narrowed it down to Martin and PRS.
I still think PRS wins.
And Gibson a little bit, but I know
Gibson a little bit.
I might have to. Your arguments were very sound and convincing. We might give the title.
I mean, I think Gibson and Martin are tied, like is number 2.
But then
like
PRS takes number 1,
and then PRS takes number 1.
So Pari Smith, we're going to give you the cake or the imaginary invisible trophy as number 1 Fanboys
Cult following
and cult-like status for your people that love your guitar. So you win. Congratulations. You don't really get a real prize. We don't have one.
I know people are going to be in the comments thinking, "Oh, you guys are talking. This is just what we observe."
No, I played I played a bunch of demos last week, like in one little sitting, and like the PRSs I played blew my socks off. Like, and not all PRSs do, but there's certain lines that I've found that I just love and adore.
So what I have found lately is, some of the ones that I like the most are not the lines I thought that I should play. Like, I'm like, I have to like the 594 because that's kind of where I live.
thought that would be the only one I would like.
And no, man, it's like that studio is awesome. I played one of those in a demo.
The DGT is mine.
Killer. I like the DGT
and
too.
And then the special semi-hollow is one I really like a lot too because it's just cool. I like semi-hollow anything.
It is cool.
Anything. I mean, don't forget, tuck your kids in at night. Tuck your guitars in.
Make sure to tell them why PRS is the greatest.
Tell me. And if you don't think your guitar, if you think your guitar should have won, and you think this is wrong, let us know why, and let's figure out a way to make it number 1 cult status guitar.
And tell us in the comments: are you one brand cult, like that's the best, or are you spread across all the brands? Because that's kind of where I think
I started off as like Fender and Gibson all the way, and I've spread my into boutique and PRS and other things.
Stuff,
And I'll still, this is a funny thing, people are like, what's your number 1 guitar you play? I'm like, the Taylor GS Mini. I have really nice guitars, really fancy ones and other things, but that's the number 1 guitar I probably put my hands on more than any other guitar. It's really funny.
You heard it here.
That's it. Peace be with you. Click like, subscribe.
Hit the bell.
And have a great night.